you're prone to wake up and, sleepwalk and do crazy stuff, say insane things. Just throwing it out there, you might know which medication I'm talking about. It's one of the worst fucking things you can do to somebody with insomnia. It gives you a false sense of like you're actually sleeping. Meanwhile, the rest of your body, the rest of your brain, it's fucking you up neurochemically.
And then they're like, why am I so tired all day? Why am I so groggy? Why am I sluggish? Why is my clarity of thought bad? Why can't I think through a process? Well, let's look at your med list.
Right.
I'm not going to say the name of the medication, but it has one of the strongest black box label warnings on it, and it's billed as a sleep medication. I was prescribed that, and I was told, you'll just take this forever. Meanwhile, it doesn't do anything to like actually restore your brain's function, to actually restorative like effects of sleep. Doesn't do anything for that.
That Security Halt Media is looking for clients that need video editing. Have them reach out to info@securityhaltmedia.com.
Guys, welcome to Security Halt Podcast. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
How are you doing?
I am thrilled to be here alive, well, and have some sleep. But it is crazy. I'm gearing up for Normandy, but I am excited to have you guys, the team behind S.T.A.B.L.E Mental Health, helping a lot of my dear friends in Northwest Florida. So today I had to have you on. We tried to make it happen before, but again, travel's got in the way. But now we finally were able to lock it down, at least for 45 minutes before I have to jump into the seat of another endeavor. But today, you got to dive into your journeys, guys. So please tell us a little about yourselves.
So I'm Jenny Kimbro, and we are S.T.A.B.L.E Mental Health. We're psychiatric nurse practitioners.
Yeah.
I'm Ryan Shelton, the other part of S.T.A.B.L.E Mental Health, and we have a lot of experience as far as the medical field, and decided that we wanted to pursue the psychiatric portion of it, not just the medical portion, to kind of help all those in need, especially veterans. It seems like there's a big deficit as far as the help they receive and are getting. So,
absolutely. If you guys have listened to the show, that's something that I dive into because it's near and dear to my heart. I am not only a proud advocate, but a proud member of the club. I struggled, and here's the fun fact: we're going to continue to struggle throughout life. But it's about minimizing the amount of struggle and giving you and everybody that's dealing with these issues some tools. So it's important to have individuals such as yourselves on the show to talk about what you're doing. But before we dive into the great stuff you're doing, I want to dive into the background, because we have to know that, there's a human element to it. There's a reason why there's a calling. And so I want to hear that. I want to hear where that calling came from.
So for me, I started off at a young age. I started off as a paramedic and then a firefighter, and I did that for about 12 years. After that, I went into nursing, because then I had a family and kids and stuff. And so I did ER nursing, and I was an ER nurse, ER trauma, and charge nurse for 12 years. And then I went into family nurse practitioner, and we did that for a couple years, and then decided that wasn't really my thing. So psychiatric was always something I was interested in. It was always something I loved. Kind of got into that just from the pre-hospital, from trauma, ER, and all of that. Psych was always like my go-to. I always wanted to be around those patients and help those patients. I felt like they were mistreated in the ER. I didn't really like the way all that was handled. I didn't like how substance abuse patients were handled. And I felt like it is a disease. It is something that needs to be treated and cared for, and they're people as well. And trauma is a big thing, and a lot of people, I think, dismiss it. So we have to wrap back around and understand that there is a deeper aspect of what happens in the human brain, and when there's trauma or when there's substance use, and why that's there, and kind of treat that from the depths and not just from the surface. So we opened S.T.A.B.L.E Mental Health a few years ago to kind of pull in our passion, or my passion, from that. And so that's where we are.
That's awesome. And I got so much to dive into on that. But Ryan, tell us about yourself. How did you find yourself in this, the forefront of the battle for veterans' mental health?
Well, I took care of my grandfather, who also was a veteran of World War II, and I saw the good and the bad of the medical, and that's what pushed me into the medical. I also am part of the club like you are. And I served, and when I came back from my last deployment from Kandahar in Afghanistan, there just wasn't a lot of services, especially for a lot of us that came back. And I think my intake took 6 months to get completed. And then that's just the medical portion of it. That's not even the psychiatric portion of it. And the techniques and things they were using for veterans were obsolete in my mind. And I feel like a lot of my friends, I would end up helping them more than the VA and the other services were. So I felt like it was up to me to kind of help them out as best I can, or at least provide as much as I can for that community itself. Also from working in the hospital, because I did internal medicine as well, just seeing how much of psychiatric things get pushed to the side as far as with addiction and trauma. And it's not just trauma dealing with war trauma. Trauma it's particular to that individual, whether it's, a car accident or, spousal abuse or anything like that, but everyone's got their version of trauma. I just wanted to make sure that that type of community, the mental health side, was taken care of. And that's why we kind of embarked on this endeavor.
Yes, sir. That is. I want to highlight something in both of your stories. The capacity to serve, the passion for it, the purpose, the drive. It's there, and I think we need to highlight. I think I fell into this idea that only a veteran or only somebody within my community could really understand me, and that's not really the case. You need to find the understanding that there are people of purpose and are people who are deeply devoted to service, and those are the individuals going to rally around you to help you. And that's what I ended up finding was an entire coalition of, more often than not, women providers that were deeply devoted to service members and helping us. And if I wouldn't have changed that mind frame, my pathway to healing would have taken a lot longer, because it takes a lot for a veteran to get out and to go to school and to get the certifications. And Ryan, you're a powerful component to this healing journey for so many of us. But we also have to be willing to take a look at individuals such as Jenny, somebody that is sitting here with a service record of service and compassion and being there for others in a different capacity. And we have to be willing to accept that, man. That is something that I struggle with, and I have to constantly remind people of, hey, man, like the guides, the support that you're looking for may be coming in a different, maybe wrapped in a different package than you're willing to accept right now. Maybe just reflect on it. Maybe just meditate on the idea that maybe it's not some barrel-chested freedom fighter coming in with a mustache and a mouthful of dip, but it may be a 5'2" Hispanic lady named Rosalita with a proven track record of helping people that are in your position. And I think we have to kill that myth, man. I think we have to show people that, yes, there are amazing individuals like you, Ryan, that have served, that have gone into academia, have gotten certifications, need the help, but also powerful healers like yourself, Jenny, that are in the fight with us and helping and willing to do everything they can to help others. And I think that's something that we need to talk about more, man. The idea that only one type of person can help us, it's just outdated, and we need to embrace anybody that's willing to help us.
Right. I will say that, like, in the beginning, I wasn't like all of our military trauma or vets and stuff like that, I would push to Ryan and be like, hey, he understands you. He knows
Yeah.
you. And I had to kind of like wrap around it and say, wait, I might understand you too. Went and spent time. I've done a lot of time and work with A Hero and like Vets Recover and different organizations that do a lot of veteran work, just to kind of see that it's really just about understanding the person. It's not really where the trauma specifically came from, and that it's military, that it's vet, but it's just the individual and their trauma and how they deal with it and what they need from me or us. So it's been a journey. It's been interesting to learn everything.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people don't understand, that our doctors, our providers are constantly growing. It's not like they graduate from one program and they're like, you're done. You know everything. It's like, no, man, like we bring a lot of different shit to this field. And the individuals love what they're doing. They're constantly finding ways to get more insight. And there are new tools being developed, new things being brought into the device. I mean, like just a few years ago, we didn't have MERT. We didn't know how hyperbaric oxygen treatment could be beneficial in the fight against PTSD and TPI. This episode of Security Halt is brought to you by Dr. Taylor Bosley and Precision Wellness Group. Let's be real. By now, a lot of New Year's resolutions have already fizzled out. Life gets busy, motivation drops, and health ends up on the back burner. But here's the truth. There's no better time to start than right now. Precision Wellness Group specializes in hormone optimization and hormone health, delivering personalized care and treatment right to your door. If you've been dealing with low energy, brain fog, poor sleep, or stalled performance, hormone imbalance may be the missing piece. Dr. Taylor Bosley and his team take a data-driven, individualized approach to help you get back to operating at your best. Security Halt listeners receive 25% off their initial consultation when they use Security Halt 25 at checkout. Click the link in the episode description to find out more and get started today. And I think it's important to understand that individuals in your seat, in your profession, are really devoted to constantly learning and adapting, because the veteran that we're seeing right now that is coming through the front doors of your clinic or other clinics like it is vastly different than the veteran from World War II. There are some similarities, but our younger veterans are struggling, and they're struggling from different things from, that guys like myself and Ryan did. In your guys's, in the area you're working in, what are some of the things that you're seeing more of today that our veterans are having problems with?
You're seeing, for me, I'm seeing a lot more PTSD, and the TBIs are more prevalent now than, the World War II vets, the Vietnam vets. And that in itself is a double whammy, because you have two injuries. Because PTSD is not it's not a condition or anything like that. It's more of an injury to the brain. Same thing, a TBI is an injury to the brain. And so when you have those two whammies, and then you have two things affecting your neurological pathways, you're already at a disadvantage. And if the younger guys are just not as equipped, didn't have this, some of them just didn't have the hardships coming in to be aware of what they were getting themselves into, as far as, especially when we went from enduring freedom to Afghanistan, like the stuff that they were being thrown into, going from Desert Storm to that was completely different. So it just was a lot of shock therapy on them. So from my experience, a lot of them just were having increased anxiety on top of that, with depression and everything like that. So and a lot of the therapies were just like, "Here, take this pill, and I'll see you in a month." A lot of them were telling me, like, counselors weren't really talking to them about the things that they were going through, or they wanted them to immediately relive those events doing it through trauma therapy, wanted it right away. And it's like, nah, you got to be ready for that. And
Yeah.
can't
My favorite is the, hey, I just want you to pick the worst event of your life. And it's like, lady, my ACEs scores are off the chart. I've deployed 17 times, and the guy is like listing off like every deployment he's gone to, all the different theaters, and each one of them has like an insane index event. And the pain point I'm always hearing from guys is like, I enlisted before, like I got into the height of the war in Iraq, and then I enlisted and enlisted again, and then went to SOF, and I went to all these different places and saw all this different stuff, and had all the moral injury here, and here, and they want me to just summarize it all into one event. Like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to summarize. And I vividly remember friends telling me this, like, how do I weigh the impact that these things have had on my soul and in my brain, and come up with just one and just go in there? But the other problem is the lack of consistent care, because either the guy gets frustrated and he leaves, or they're part of the VA program and it's a revolving door of providers. In your guys' experience, what has your approach been to like working with that veteran and like establishing that secure handshake, that firm handshake of, hey, I'm here with you? And how do you get to the point where you finally say, all right, it's your turn to go on your own?
So, we listen. I feel like I sit and I listen and I don't so for me specifically, I don't push. Like
Yeah.
it's on them to tell me what they want me to know or what they trust me to know. And so we sit and we talk like humans. We sit and we talk like buddies. I'm not usually sitting like in a clinical situation. Like sometimes I'll just go pull up a chair next to him and sit and we'll just talk like we're chilling. And it's building that relationship of a friend and not a provider versus a patient and just like they have to trust you. But
Yeah.
that goes with any kind of trauma, not just veteran trauma, all trauma. Like you have to trust the person you're talking to. So I kind of took it away of, okay, well, this is specific to vets. Like we have to do this. Like there are some specific things, like, but everybody's trauma is trauma. And you just have to look at it as, okay, we're just going to sit and we're going to hang out and we're going to talk. And some patients can't sit in an office. So I'll say, hey, let's go for a walk. And we'll just go walk around the block and go for a walk and hang out, or we'll go sit at the park or whatever. So it's just like you have to read the room. And I feel like a lot of people don't read the room. And if they don't want a door shut, we don't shut a door. It's not, I kind of just follow their guide and
Feel
we
like
just
we adapt to our
yeah.
clientele and give them what at that time they're presenting what they need. Honestly, like she said, like if they feel uncomfortable sitting in the room, hey, let's go for a walk.
Mm.
And a lot of times, like she said, we build a rapport with these patients by just listening to them at first because it, PTSD and trauma and it affects us all in different ways, whether you're the veteran warrior or, like I said, the car crash, abuse, whatever. We don't tend medications have their place, but it's not the end all be all. Like 30 to 40% of medications that we give to people with PTSD don't effectively relieve their symptoms. They make them numb or have sexual dysfunction or whatever. That's why we look at different avenues. Like the exomine was a big proponent of thing that we wanted to bring to the forefront because that neurofeedback is something that I think that can really help as far as with anyone with PTSD, not just veterans, but it seems like the people that need the therapy the most are the ones that are going to be left out because the only thing is, hey, let's talk about that worst part of your life. Let's take all those little single events and talk about that. Like I know when I came back, that was the least thing I wanted to do. I wanted to keep that door shut until I was able to deal with that. And I had a buddy that he was in 2007. He was in Iraq, and I think I missed him by like a couple months, but it took him 5 years before he was like talking to me about stuff that he encountered. So we just try to do stuff that brings them along the journey of healing at their rate and not what the textbook says, the black and white. We kind of, like I said, adapt to our clientele.
and we
Yeah.
don't push medication. Like I'm more holistic. I don't believe in a lot of the medications. I try to keep patients off of medications. I will do everything in the world to not put a patient on a medication until it's like, okay, we'll do it. But my belief is medications are for now, not for an always.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to always have you on medications. Patients will come in and be like, well, my doctor said we have to be on this for the rest of my life. I'm like, there's nothing that's the rest of your life. We can be on it for right now, and then we're going to use it as a tool to get through the minute, and then we're going to come off of it. And then we're going to see how we adapt, because without it, we don't know your baseline.
Yeah.
So you may not have that anymore, but we don't know if we don't come off the medication and see what your baseline is now. But we also come off the medication. Like I'm very slow on coming off a med. So I don't want you to feel the decrease. I don't want you to know you're coming off of the med. So we do it really slow and we come off of it, and then we're usually okay. And if we're not, then we revisit it, but it doesn't have to be all the time. The longer you're on these meds, the more side effects you have. So the less time we can be on it, the better. Like he said, we have the exomine, which is a TMS machine, transcranial magnetic stimulation. We are using that in our practice now. And there is so much proven research now on PTSD, on depression, on all of the things that's helping to help us not put patients on medications, to help redevelop the brain and reformulate how it's functioning and thinking.
Yeah. And I want to dive into that, but just to reiterate, folks, because we have to say it again for the people in the back, medications have a place. Absolutely do. But the idea that you're supposed to be on these some of these substances for the rest of your life. And some of the things that they're prescribing veterans to take daily is insane. I'm not going to say the name of the medication, but it has one of the strongest black box label warnings on it, and it's billed as a sleep medication. That I was prescribed that, and I was told you'll just take this forever. Meanwhile, it doesn't do anything to like actually restore your brain's function, to actually restore to like effects of sleep. It doesn't do anything for that. You're prone to wake up and sleepwalk and do crazy stuff, say insane things. Just throwing it out there. You might know which medication I'm talking about.
It's grinding my teeth. When I see people on it, I'm like, why?
It's the worst. It's one of the worst fucking things you can do to somebody with insomnia. It gives you a false sense of like you're actually sleeping. Meanwhile, the rest of your body, the rest of your brain, it's fucking you up neurochemically.
Yeah.
It is a bad thing.
They're like, why am I so tired all day? Why am I so groggy? Why am I sluggish? Why is my clarity of thought bad? Why can't I think through a process? Well, let's look at your med list.
Right.
Let's take you off of, 8 of these 9 medications and really figure out what's wrong, because the doctors, especially certain services, just like to throw you on a lot of medications. And then it's like, okay, well, which one's working? Or they'll put you on 5 at a time, the 5 at one time. And it's like, okay, which medication actually helped you? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, then let's decrease them. Let's get off them, start at the base, see how you are, and let's go start from there.
Yeah, and it's also important to note that you have to downstep. You cannot, if you're out there and you're on medication, and I know it's for a lot of veterans, you're prescribed a lot of medications. Talk to your provider. Develop a plan of action. Be intentional, be focused, and understand that you have to do the work. There's no such thing as a magic wand. And if any medication is being presented to you as a magic wand, granted, there are some health issues where I'm not telling you to get off your diabetic medicine. Like, come on now. That's ridiculous. I'm talking about mental health stuff. So don't get it twisted, folks. If you're taking something that your life is absolutely necessary to be able to live, that's not what I'm talking about. If you're on Prozac, if you're on something that affects the chemical balance of your brain, talk to a doctor, develop a plan of action to come off it. Because I will tell you, I was one of those guys. I was taking a lot of medications, and I got to the point where it was affecting every other aspect of my life. The world was muted. And when I finally talked to a provider that had a plan of action, it wasn't like, yeah, just stop taking it, guy. No, it was like, all right, we have to be very deliberate, because come to find out, your body stops producing some of the things that it's getting from these medications. And when it no longer gets it, it can be catastrophic. So please, always consult your doctor, your care team, and be willing to ask questions. That's the greatest problem that I knew I was facing. And a lot of other veterans are in the same place. We get in this room with a provider and we clam up. And it's like, yep, whatever. Yep, good. Ask a question. If the doctor doesn't know, they should provide you with a resource or be willing to sit down with you. That was one of the greatest moments I ever experienced going through my health journey, having a doctor sit down and read Operator Syndrome with me as I brought him the white paper study, and be willing to understand it. Oh, I haven't read this before. I haven't seen this. This is breaking news, right? This is just now coming out. All right, I need to educate myself. I work in this area, Northwest Florida, have a lot of soft guys. I should be educated on this. Holy cow, another human being talking with another human being. That's how simple it is. It's nobody knows everything, even our medical providers, and we should be willing to ask questions. But like I said, I was right there. And I'm sure, Ryan, at some point before you were a doctor, you had that same feeling of like, well, I'm just going to sit quiet and let them tell me what I need.
For the most part, until they said something, I'm like, I can't hold it in anymore. I'm gonna stop you right there. And then I'd be like, well, certain studies say this. And
yeah,
especially when they were trying to push meds onto me or friends of mine, because friends of mine would call me like, hey, they're trying to give me X, Y, and Z. I go, nope. Yeah. Ask for maybe this, ask for labs. Let me know what they're titrating you up. Let me know how they're titrating you down. And I'll tell you if that's okay or not to do. Because like you said, these medications that took place and they stopped having your body naturally produce some of these neurotransmitters, these chemicals in your body, that you take that away and you go through pretty much like a withdrawal or like a shock to your system. That's why it's it's so important to have a plan, titrate slowly, and be honest and ask questions. Questions are huge. I make sure anytime someone leaves me, I ask them at least 3 times. Any questions, comments, concerns? Last chance. Sure. Anything? Nothing? Not. So I always want to make sure they're comfortable with the plan and they understand the plan.
And on top of that, not only do we ask them a million times before they leave if they have any questions, it's like, okay, you have my email address, you have my phone number, you can text me at any time, you can message me through the portal, whatever. You have like a million different avenues you can get a hold of me if you have any questions between this appointment and the next appointment. Or if you walk out that door and you're like, oh, I forgot to ask this, shoot me a message. Like, I'll always answer that way too, because they need to have that comfort, because not everybody's comfortable looking you in the eyes and asking you a question. So I'm like, just email it to me.
Yeah.
I'm cool. If you don't want to talk to me until you're at that point where you're comfortable talking, send me an email. That's fine. So there's multiple different avenues that people are comfortable with. But what I was going to hit on what you said about, we are going through this and we're talking about meds and how they're not, don't just come off of them. Don't just stop them. That is one thing I will say that a lot of my veterans do is they come in because they're like, hey, I was on all these meds and now I'm just a basket case, or now I'm just like having such problems because I read some stuff or I heard something. And so I just stopped it all. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a problem. We don't do that. So yeah, never just stop. Like, always come up with a plan. There's always have to wean off of these things and come down safely, because the medications are altering the chemical makeup in your brain. They are altering your system. So we have to put your system back together by coming off of them slowly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such an important thing to know, because yeah, we're smart, capable, amazing human beings in the veteran space. We're wonderful people, but sometimes we can do some really, really special things.
Great way to put it. Yes.
That's a very PC way of putting it. We're retarded. There we go. It's Security Halt. I can say this is my show. Yeah, we do a lot of things. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. We jump to conclusions. We hear a new trend, and before we understand the severity and the dangers that come with it, friggin' pull the plug.
Mhm.
But I want to go back to something you guys were talking about. MERT therapy. There's a lot of different things out there that are helping our veterans. And how has that innovation been utilized by your clinic, and what kind of response have you seen?
As far as the ExoMind's been great. I've actually used it myself. When like I said, I came back, I had all kinds of issues, and it took me a while to get to an adjustment period to where I could function at a pretty high level. But the ExoMind worked 1,000 times better than anything that I could imagine. I mean, it's like because your brain is like an engine, like in a car, and the ExoMind is the diagnostic tool that kind of figure out what's wrong and then helps regenerate and make new pathways to fix those things with biofeedback, bioavailability, things like that. It helps with your HRV, your heart rate variability, which is yes, because veterans, when we come back, we're so geared to that threat alert, that rational part of our brain that pumps the brakes and lets us know that it's safe. We are so tuned to have that threat, like, hey, we got to be vigilant. That part shuts off, that brake system shuts off, and where the ExoMind helps regenerate that active thinking process, goes, hey, you're safe, and we're going to start pumping the brakes. So it kind of turns down that alpha part of your brain, that prefrontal cortex, that fight or flight, like, I'm ready to go when I'm going to protect all. It brings that level down so that reactive brain can go, okay, we're good, pump the brakes, let's stay calm. And that's what helps with the delta waves as far as your sleep cycle was, because once you start bringing that down, everything else kind of even keels itself out. So it's, like I said, it's 5 tools in one. I used it 6 times and my sleep improved, my cognitive function improved, just in all, me staying calm as far as hearing things, my triggers, like, a car firing back, certain alarms would be the same alarms you would hear, like incoming type thing. I was able to not get so heightened so quickly. And I was able to take my rational brain and go, you're okay. You're not over there anymore. We can relax. Everything's good.
Yeah, it's funny when people aren't in tune to those things. You don't understand your body signaling a certain thing, like things like diesel fuel.
Yeah.
Like diesel fuel of all things, like, and I didn't stop to think of what I was feeling in that heightened sense of like alertness until I started seeing a therapist for the first time. And you don't think about triggers. I'm like, and it wasn't like I was amped up to get in a fight. No, but my body was definitely, I was getting that. I felt a spike. I felt a spike like I was getting ready to go somewhere and do something specifically, but it was a normal factor of my life because I owned a diesel truck. And that I was sitting there wondering one day, like, and I brought it up. It's like, yeah, when I'm pumping on my truck and I'm getting fuel, like I get really amped up, get excited. I get a moment of like feeling like, oh wow, like something's about to get. You get a little bit more pep in your step and alert. Am I getting high off my fumes? Like no, it's that feeling that you're gearing up to go out on a mission. You're filling up, you're topping off the trucks, and you're getting back up. And it's been long ingrained because for an entire year of my life in Iraq, I was on a convoy and I was gearing up and I'm sitting there having to do pit stops and fill up with jerry cans. And it became a thing in your mind. You don't even realize it. And it just becomes part of who you are. It becomes part of your operating mechanism. And there's tons of guys that I talked to had that same reality with something as simple as filling up their truck or checking something or constantly checking the door or doing security around their house. These are all things that you don't think are a problem or don't think that there's a connection with your deployments or being in a threat environment until you sit down and talk with somebody. But I
Right.
guarantee.
That's the big thing is sitting down and talking to somebody or standing up or whatever. But
Yeah.
unless you bring it up, like even after people do the ExoMind, I'm like, well, how do you feel? Do you feel any different? They're like, not really, until I start like asking a few random questions. And they're like, oh, yeah, this happened yesterday and I actually didn't lose my crap. I'm like, okay. So then we're progressing. And then the sleep is really one of the biggest ones because I know that sleep is a problem, especially for a lot of veterans, because you sleep, you have nightmares, you wake up constantly. And if you don't get that sleep, like we have to work off of sleep. If you don't get
Yeah.
sleep, you can't function. And you can't emotionally regulate. So without sleep, people are like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm good," and I'm that person too. Like I'm like I can go for days without sleep and I'm fine, but you start to not be able to emotionally regulate. So your anxiety is higher the next day. You can't handle situations the next day. Your clarity of thought's not as good, but you think it's like, well, it's just me. I'm just that way. Well, no, you're not sleeping, so your brain's not resetting ever. So it's always a problem. But I will say, like, our personal story on the ExoMind is
Mhm.
I'm more holistic. And I'm always like, hey, let's look at this. Hey, let's look at this. And he's like, okay, Jenny, let's look.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like a firm believer in the
Yeah.
beginning. And so finally I was like, hey, because I knew what he had in the back of his mind. Like I knew the traumas that he had. He doesn't talk like you said, he didn't talk about a lot of things, but and especially when you spend time in a business with somebody. So I was just like, I'm gonna just try this out. So I was like, hey, why don't you just get on it and see? Let's just see if we can get you sleeping better. And so we started doing it with him. And so slowly through time, then I noticed one day he came in, he was like, "Hey, can you put me on that machine?" I was like, "Okay." So now we're seeing a difference. Like we feel like it's helping now because then he was coming and asking for it. So I saw the shift in him and then I saw how he was handling situations differently and how in the office things were really different. He was a little lighter. His tone was a little different. So I saw the whole shift in him specifically.
And that's why it's funny you said that about diesel fuel because that's the same thing that triggered me because I didn't realize that when I got back I would smell the fuel, but then all of a sudden I'd be looking around everywhere and doing checks everywhere, constantly looking. And finally, my son's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Yeah, that's a good question. What am I doing?" And that's what led me to like, "Oh, this is one of my triggers." But the thing with the ExoMind, when I said about the heart rate variability, because I measure that in myself a lot, and mine was much lower when I came down. But then when we started doing that, mine increased after a few sessions. And then I started reading more of the research on it. That's why I said it's like a 5 tool. Like um, your brain, your brain will always do what's best for it. And so if it knows it's getting a good if it knows it's following this pathway and it's getting good results, healthy results, it will continue that. And so when it varies off it, it will reset to get back on that pathway. That's that neurofeedback. And then with the neurotransmitters, it nudges you for healthy activity, because what we're trying to do with that is reset those circuits so you're not always in that fight or flight. And that's the main thing, is that we were so prone to having that threat mode for us, that to bring down the threat mode and let our reactive brains to say, you're okay, you're in a safe spot.
Yeah. Jenny, I want to dive into the holistic aspect inside of this, because while I'm a big proponent for it, there's still naysayers. There are people out there like, I'm not going to get better by just worrying about vitamin E and taking in the right substance and drinking green drinks. It's not going to help me in any way. It's like, dude, yes, nutritional supplements, vitamin, they're actually very critical in helping every component of our lives and our body. And for the longest time, we've focused so much on Western medicine and on pills, and this idea that like, well, if I want to feel better, I just got to take all these pills. And it's like, okay, well, let's look at the pills, because a lot of them should be things like vitamin D, vitamin E, some fish oil, some of those things, but they're just now starting to get more credibility in this space.
Right. Yeah, so we do dive a lot into like nutrition, hydration. Like people don't understand how much hydration alone matters in life. And I'm like, if you're not drinking half your body weight in ounces a day, then you're not hydrating. And you hydrate today for tomorrow. I know you made a face. See, you're not doing it either. And like half your body weight in
No,
ounces a
I
day.
am not. But
No.
my wife is always on top of me to do that.
Yep, that's your minimum, like half your body weight in ounces a day. And then if you're out there doing something active, like if you're running or if you're doing anything outside or you're anything functional or taking specific medications that are naturally dehydrating you, you have to increase that. Your brain is balancing in fluid. Like, why wouldn't you need hydration to balance all of that? So, so yes, I do a lot of education on like, you should be hydrating, you should be supplementing, having good nutrition and eating correctly. And we look at a lot of that supplements, like, we do lab work, we're testing your vitamin B, we're testing your D, we're, doing specific labs to make sure that there's nothing else going on. There's a large percentage of Americans that have low vitamin D. And then some people are like, oh, well, my B12 is normal. Well, what is your number? Okay, well, if you're at 300 or 400, like it's normal, but it's not normal. It's not high enough.
It's normal in the low end.
Yeah, it's normal according to the range that it's supposed to be, or your vitamin D is at 30 and it's supposed to, the range is all the way up to 80 or 100, it should be up there.
Right.
So, they just look at that their labs are in the green. And it's like, just because your labs are in the green doesn't mean that it's where they're supposed to be. And secondly, we're all individuals. We're all different. Yeah. So what a range is a range. But the vitamins matter, nutrition matters, hydration matters a lot. Listen to your wife.
It's true though. It's true. Like it's, especially when it comes to like our diet, we don't put enough emphasis on the things that we're putting in our body. And I know for a long time, I wasn't really tracking it. I would put more focus on nutrition for the gym. It's like protein and pre-workout. Like, I need to get more pre-workout because it gives me the fire ants feeling. That's how you know it's working. And it's got like 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's sitting here. I'm constantly pounding it. And I'm like, wait a second. Too much of a good thing can be bad. But it's understanding like, hey.
Hydrating you and you're not replacing the hydration.
Yeah. And it's like, you switch, should I be buying the the aftermarket, flashy marketing new, energy drink or a pre-workout that's made in a questionable third world country, or can I drink and choose a pre-workout from, say, Pure Liberty Labs that's actually made here in the United States, that's good for you? Shameless plug. But that was a growth moment for me, is understanding what I'm putting in my body, because you can't eat a freaking gas station tornado and tell yourself that you're going to be the pinnacle of health. and not worry about what the side effects of eating like garbage. You feel worse. You're more prone to diabetes, blood pressure, all these things. When you start diving into the veteran like health issues, mental health issues, it's deeply connected to overall health. Like, how are we going to talk about mental health when we're not talking about diabetes, when we're not talking about hypertension, when we're not talking about individuals that are suffering from both aspects? Obesity is a huge thing in our population too, and that's a sad thing to realize, that these things are interconnected. And when I'm able to find mental health professionals like yourselves that are championing these ideas, like, I get thrilled, because what we put in our bodies through eating affects this 100%. Like, and it doesn't have to be this thing where you're not going to be able to go out and eat. No, but make better choices, simple, better choices. And you're going to realize your body's going to tell you what it likes, what it desires. If you're just willing to just pause on the sugar, like I always tell people, hey, just take 2 weeks of cleaning up your diet. You're going to naturally find yourself wanting and craving things that are better for you. Like, yes, a white Monster is still delicious. It's still amazing when you don't have that morning cup of coffee and you're on the go. But I'm telling you, ditch the overly processed pre-workouts that don't do anything for you. And again, I'm going to plug them because it's a veteran-owned company, and this stuff's actually better for you. It's better for you. And one scoop to go to a workout versus drinking a Monster and 4 scoops of a very questionable pre-workout product that makes you feel like you're on fire and maybe has trace elements of crystal meth, probably not good for you. But it's that little bit of growth that we all have to do. Like, look at what you're putting in your body. Look what you're putting on your body. That's another thing I didn't understand. The prevalence of neuroendocrine disruptors in our clothing. And I'm not telling you to go full crunchy, mom. I'm just saying, be willing to read, be willing to look at things, be willing to ask your providers for help. Because like I'm pretty sure that the things that you talk about with your patients and clients, Jenny, are the things that you're also passionate about. So you have broader insight to them. And that's the thing that I was missing for a long time, was the insight from people that had a different background, that understood different things, that could have helped me better understand what's better for me a lot sooner.
Right. Like I use a lot of, like, we do lion's mane, we do cordyceps, we do turkey tail, we do reishi. We work very hand in hand close with Lost Boys mushrooms. So actually we're in the same building with them. So like, I know their grow process. I can see what they're doing. They're doing it all
Wait a second.
organically. They're doing
You're
amazing.
there's a mushroom provider for lion's mane, turkey tail, and that in the Northwest Florida area?
Yeah, we're in the same building. So, and we
Get the
actually did that on purpose. Like, that was an intentional marriage. Like, we did that on purpose. I knew I was holistic. I knew I liked their products. So we married into the same building on purpose. That way we are here with them. So they're growing in the back of, like, in the warehouse behind us is their grow center. So they're growing all the mushrooms and everything right back there. They're making the tinctures in-house. They're making the powders in-house. It's all organic. It's all love. Like, he goes back there and talks to his mushrooms. Like, he's like very, it's a thing. And
it is a thing. It's one of the largest, like, it's one of the largest. Yeah,
you'll have to come visit us.
Well, I'm moving back in the area in July, so surprise. Like, we'll be able to do this in person when I get there. But mushrooms and tinctures especially are something I'm a big fan of. We have mushroom coffee. I'm still a big proponent of my wife's awesome coffee in the morning. I love drinking coffee, but I did do mushroom coffee for a long time. There is lots of science, lots of efficacy in utilizing mushrooms as part of your supplements, as part of your daily diet and nutrition. There's huge benefits to it.
She's buying mushroom coffee. What I do is I brew my coffee, and then I'm putting the tinctures. I'm putting lion's mane and cordyceps and turkey. I'm putting it in my coffee, and I'm frothing it. And so I'm putting them in my coffee. My son has ADHD, and I don't medicate him, but he does take lion's mane and cordyceps in the morning, and I might put it in his body armor in the afternoon. So like, he is doing that too, and I haven't had to medicate him. His grades have come up from C's and D's to A's and B's. So, you don't have to do a lot of things that we do just because it's faster or it's what we know.
And the lion's mane is something that I utilize during my deployments, but back then it was all pill form, so you get closer to the source, it's much better, obviously, but we're both very holistic with as far as that thing, as far as making sure you have your labs done correctly. And I actually will order labs if their PCP or their specialist won't do it. I'll actually order the labs. Like, this is what I would do in the hospital. This is what I would run. Here's a slip. Go find out where whoever will do it for you, and then we'll go over them. And I will literally go over each lab. And I had one guy who had one inflammatory rheumatoid factor that was off the charts, and I had to tell him, because if you research it, it makes it look, the prognosis is like you got 6 months to live. And I had to say, you got to take this with a grain of salt now, because one, you have no respiratory issues. So you're not going to go from 0 to 60. I was like, you got to look more into it. I was like, I think yours is high. If it's not a false positive, it's because your history of cancer, which can cause a false positive with this. But you wouldn't know that unless you actually sat down and read it with them and tell them, like, hey, just because you have this one, the other ones that should be supported it aren't elevated.
And the other thing is that we're not afraid to say we don't know something. Like, I'll go over things with patients and they're like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, I don't know, but I'll get back with you because I'll go find out.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid to say, like, I have no idea. So let's research it. Let's learn it together. Let's figure it out. We don't know everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it is a constantly growing environment that you're in. No doctor's going to know everything. And in fact, that's a warning sign. If a doctor's too arrogant to want to research something with you or admit that they don't know, just saying, find somebody else. Find somebody else. There's no way a provider knows everything. Things are coming out of the woodwork as we speak. New research being done. New things are coming out. And if you find yourself dealing with somebody that is difficult to talk to, doesn't answer questions, and has that elevated sense of self-worth, find a new provider. Be willing to check somebody out. It's your journey. You're in control. That's something people don't talk about often. It is not a dictatorship. It is a companionship. It's a guide. You're guiding somebody through their journey.
Yeah.
You got to find that, like, it's like dating, not everyone is compatible with everyone. So if you find a provider that you don't get along with, or you feel like it's not listening, you got to feel comfortable enough to know that there's millions of them out there. Where it doesn't seem like it, but you just got to do the research and put it out there. And as far as also with the holistic stuff, I know in my journey when I was overseas, a lot of guys I was helping out with peptides and things like that, as far as with the inflammation and maintaining the muscles that you need to, and even the cognitive benefits of the peptides. Like, I would help them manage and dose those. Like, hey, this is what I know, because like I can't stop reading. I'd always try to do research on things. Like, once I read it, it's in my brain. I can pull it out, be like, okay. But I'm always trying to, like, okay, this study said this, but it's based off this study, so let me read that. But there's so much benefits from doing holistic things with both peptides and supplementations. And like, even now, like MOTS-C is like a big one that everyone's pushing. And I'm like, well, you got to do the supplements first to improve your mitochondrial function before something's going to make you have all this energy. Because if your battery is low, giving something that's going to make your battery high, it's just going to make it a little bit high. So if you improve it and repair it, then you're fine. Or like the labs that you need with some of these things, like the BPC 157 and the Wolverine stack, as everyone likes to call it. It's great, but you got to do the labs behind it, because you can cause yourself some physical harm if you just go buy it off if you buy it off the third party, don't know where the warehouse that it's being made, gray market, whatever you want to call it, you don't know what you're getting. And also too, if you don't have the lab behind it, and say you have a cancer cell that's slowly growing, you can throw that thing in a hyperdrive and
bingo.
Yep.
Bingo.
And I tell people, they'll bring me their labs. I'm like, you have the wrong labs. You need this. You need this. You can get by with this, but if this is elevated, come let me know and I'll tell you what else you need to get.
We say that because we're getting more and more and more patients coming in saying, well, I'm having these problems. Well, I started doing these peptides on this online company and da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, oh, so what do they do? Are they doing these things? Oh, no. So we've decided to kind of dive into that as well, to push it into our company, just because everyone's having issues and they're not doing it the right way. And I hate that. Like, they're doing harm, but nobody knows. So,
or they're getting microdose when I'm like, no, that's not the appropriate one. They're just kind of bringing you in to keep you on the leash. You get the minimum effect, and you'll keep buying. I'm like, nah, we don't. You don't need to do that. This is what we need to do.
I want to heal you.
Right.
I don't want you to have to keep coming to see me. I want you to be healed.
I want you to come back and say hi and not have to come back and keep,
Exactly.
come back to see me because you feel like crap.
At some point, there's an offboarding and
Yeah.
you
Right.
move on, not just a subscription model like Netflix where you're constantly coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd rather run at you at the grocery store and, man, you look great. That's fantastic. Awesome. Happy I could help. Then
Yep.
you to keep going back and like slowly progress up that. No,
This isn't a soap opera that's going to last for 100 years.
right. It's not days in our lives. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm so glad you said that. There is a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of fear of like, once if I do therapy, if I go get and talk therapy or conventional therapy or go see a provider, I'm gonna have to see them forever and ever. It's like, no, there is. You come together, you make a plan of action, you attack it, and at some point they're gonna say, "You've done great. We're proud of you. You've done all these great things. Now it's time for you to fly on your own. And
Right.
if you ever need help, you know where to find us. But from now on, you're on your own." Like,
Right. Everybody has things that they go through, and they'll have they're here and they're coming every week or every other week or once a month for a while. But then it's like, okay, well, those things you're good at now. So the next thing that comes up, if you need to talk, give me a call. We'll put you back on the schedule or whatever. But, it's never like we're not divorcing and moving on. We're just, go do your thing and then come back when you need us.
Yeah, you're graduating and now we're letting you, use the tools we gave you. The training wheels are off. Go do your thing. If you need us, come back to like kind of revamp, then we can. If not, you got everything you need. You'll be just fine. You just got to trust in the system, trust in yourself.
yeah. Well, guys, I can't thank you enough for being here today. But before I let you go, tell us a little bit about the clinic. Where can we find you? Who's accessible? Who do you guys take as clients? And how can we connect with you online?
So we take anybody as clients. We see everybody from children to adults, geriatric, whatever. Everybody's a person. We are S.T.A.B.L.E Mental Health. We're in Pensacola, downtown Pensacola, 101 East Brainerd Street. Our website is www.stablmh.com. You can go into that website. If you have insurance, you click on new patient with insurance. If you don't have insurance, you click on patient without insurance. And just fill out the form, and then we'll give you a call. Emmy is our receptionist, and she will call and get a contact with you and get all your information and get you set up on our schedule. If you want either one of us, you can request, or she'll just put you on a random schedule. But other than that, our phone number is 850-332-3205. And that's how you get us. And we see people all the way through Florida. So right now we are licensed in Florida. So we do telehealth we have patients all the way in South Florida. So we're seeing them all the way through. And then we are working on Alabama licensing. So we will be licensed in Alabama, hopefully within the next month or so, depending on how fast that process goes. And then we'll work, I think after that, we're working on Mississippi, because there's a vet organization there that has asked us to get Mississippi certified.
That's awesome.
So we will be Mississippi licensed shortly after that.
Yeah. Slowly taking over the United States. I love it. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. And guys, you already know Spiel episode's almost over. Do me a favor. Pause, go to episode description, click those links, send them a like, a follow request. You guys are on all social medias, right?
We're on Facebook and Instagram currently. But yeah, I think that's what we're on.
Those are the only two that matter. So I'll do the legwork for you, and I'll put those links in the description. So now you just got to click it. Just click, send them a friend request, send them a message.
Yeah.
Promote them if you're in Northwest Florida. Say what's up if you're in Pensacola. I'd certainly appreciate it. I know they would too. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for what you're doing for our veterans, especially for my Northwest Florida homies. Shout out to my 7th Group fam. Thank you for taking care of them. They're near and dear to my heart, and everything you guys do for them, I know it's going to people that need it. They've gone through a lot in the last 20 years, and it's great to see a lot of guys finally take that bold step towards health and ask for help. And it's no easy task. I know it takes a lot to get there, and it's great to know that when they reach out, they're meeting individuals like yourselves that are willing to go the extra mile to make sure that they leave a lot better than when they showed up. So thank you so much. And to everybody listening, thank you guys for tuning in, supporting the show. And again, please, thank you and take care of each other. And we'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having